Hello! Welcome back to That Buzzing Sound. I hope the day is treating you quite kindly, and that you're staying safe. It's been outrageously smoky here in SoCal for the past few weeks, due to the multiple fires around the counties. The good news is, the bad weather has forced pretty much everyone to wear some sort of mask and to stay inside, which can't be overstated enough, but I digress. On today's program, I chat with Australian singer-songwriter Bella Ferraro, who some of you might know from her time on the X Factor Australia back in 2012, where she became an online indie darling around the world seemingly overnight, thanks to early social media and YouTube. Success came knocking at the door right after placing fourth on the show, leading her to be signed to Sony Music Australia, who helped release her popular debut single Set Me On Fire and Forgot You soon after. What was a life-changing moment quickly turned into a whirlwind experience that left Bella feeling deflated and uninspired about her lifelong music passion. She made the decision to leave it all behind soon after, but that music bug just wouldn't stop biting. After years of enjoying her youth far from the limelight, Bella eventually found herself in the lab again, expanding her music knowledge and experimenting with new sounds and projects in the background, preparing herself for the moment she stepped back under that spotlight, now in 2020. Bella just released her brand new, sad but sexy, title track from her upcoming debut EP entitled Her, a song that tells the personal story of two souls and the uncertainty of a blooming relationship that was inspired by real-life emotions. I caught up with her the day after the official video premiered, which you can watch directly below by the way, and got all the info behind its meaning, concept, and how COVID affected production, alongside some insider teases about the long-awaited upcoming 4-track EP and its next single. We even spoke about her recent move to the UK just before lockdown, her life-changing medical diagnosis and how that affected her production process, on top of the unexpected challenges Bella continues to overcome to reclaim her artist name years after leaving it behind. And for context, you will be entering our conversation after we chatted about Star Wars off topic for roughly about 10 minutes. Bella is a huge fan of the original trilogy, much like I am, but she has yet to see any of the Disney sequels, which I consider to be a good thing. Also, we mentioned her wonderful publicist Thomas Bleach, who I invited to the interview but the timing just didn't work out, which happens more than you know. So, without further ado, here is my conversation with Bella Ferraro, already in progress.
Oh, sorry. Can you imagine if we got back to Thomas tomorrow and we're like, so we spoke about Star Wars and not anything else.
I'm sure it's a nice little break because your mind's probably been set on the record, on the music videos. I'm sure just any type of brevity from the constant stream of workflow is kind of a nice thing.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And it's actually been a very stress-inducing process.
Right.
With the record and especially with the music video. So it's I think initially the feelings that it evoked when I spoke about it was very exciting and it still is, don't get me wrong, but then it kind of got a bit stressful and now I'm ah! Do you know what I mean?
But you kind of went through that before, you kind of see how this machine runs and you just kind of
totally.
So when you're going to hit that point, and I think you're just trying to see if you can break that barrier within yourself.
I think the difference, this time is that I don't have a team bar publicists. So I have obviously Thomas doing my publicity stuff for me and my PR, but other than that, I don't have a manager, I don't have a label, I don't have any kind of publishing contract. So I've had to learn a lot in a short space of time because my previous experience in the industry was when I was signed to a major label. And so there were departments for A&R, for distribution, for even there was a music video team and stuff like that. And so to do it all by myself, there's just so much, I guess I took for granted back then.
Right.
I mean, not that I wasn't appreciative, but I've had to learn a lot. I've had to just in the last 6 months, actually sit down and learn what is a distributor, what is an aggregator, do you know what I mean? I don't really know I never had to worry about that previously.
Yeah, because you're kind of in the hands of everybody, but now we all have to turn ourselves kind of into a brand, and that takes a lot of time sacrifice and a lot of time management, and
yeah.
And I know you have a day job, and it's just it's not everything seems balanced, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just kind of purely relying on myself now, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and Thomas as well. Thomas has been a huge help, but it's just really me and him, and he, you know, he looks after publicity, and then like I guess the rest is me.
Yeah, and he's like he's very busy too. Like he's doing his music site, he's doing his book, he's doing like he's kind of in the same
His
boat as you.
comedy,
His comedy.
yeah. Look, what can we say? We're just multi-talented, busy people.
Yeah, and that's what we have to be now.
Exactly.
But do you like the new music structure? Because again, you came from this old school mentality, and now that all those establishments have been torn down for this new, like like instant gratification, drop a song, it's out, the world gets it. Is don't you do you find that kind of freeing in a way?
So it's funny, like I actually really struggle with like the idea of self-promotion. I really struggle with it. Like I don't, and actually like not to spend the whole interview talking about Thomas, because that would be a funny thing to tell him tomorrow as well. But like Thomas has to kind of not push me, but he has to kind of be firm, because obviously we have a contractual agreement as well, and you know he wouldn't be doing his job if he wasn't firm with me.
Mm-hmm.
But he does have to kind of, yeah, I guess like really kind of push me and encourage me to promote myself, and that's, I feel really uncomfortable with that, and I feel like kind of at odds with like being a brand, and like, do you know what I mean? It's hard to say. Like I love being an artist, and I think I'd be an artist whether or not I pursued music as a career. I would still create music for sure, but like to actually like market myself is a whole different kettle of fish.
Right.
And I do struggle with that, but it's just a necessary part of the job, right?
Mm-hmm. I feel the same way, because like you just have to continually to keep pushing yourself, and that can be really hard, especially like with so many distractions. But yeah, it's always nice to have those people that are like, you got to get back to it, you got to get back to it.
Yeah, and because I, you know, and because I measure success, I think differently. Like I don't treat music as business first. I treat music as my art first, and as business second. Yeah, I just kind of have to remember that like success is measured differently by different people. Like for me, like I feel like I've succeeded a lot just in that I've invested enough to come out with this release. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But Thomas is like, no, you've got to think bigger than that. And I'm like, oh, fine, let's top the charts then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you kind of did that. You've topped the charts. You were a viral sensation. But like this project seems like it's like it's finally about you and the things that you want to talk about and the things you want to pursue. And I find that very, very inspiring.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I definitely feel, I think in that regard, yes, I feel a lot more free now, because I'm not constantly, not so much arguing, but approaching the project with a different perspective to a major label. And I think that was tough previously, but now it's sort of like, well, I don't have to ask permission from anybody what I'm going to write about and like what I'm going to wear in this video, and like, do you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. And I love that, because I'm controlling type A AF. So like, it's very good for me to be completely independent and sort of answer to no one except Thomas about marketing myself.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. And let's talk about the video for her. It dropped yesterday as of this recording. Has the response for to the video and the song kind of overwhelmed you in any way? Because your longtime fans have kind of been patiently waiting for to hear your voice again.
Yeah. So again, that's a tricky question to answer, because I didn't really have expectations. So like I'm not measuring the response against any kind of preconceived idea of what I thought it might do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really nice. I think I'm slowly but surely getting the attention of people who were really interested in me years previously, and that's kind of exciting. And I'm kind of, you know, it's really cool to kind of show them where I'm at now, you know, because a lot happens in 7 years.
Right.
And I definitely think, as we just touched on, like what I'm doing now and the music I'm making now is a lot more true to who I am than what I was doing back when I was signed to a major label, which is often inevitably the case. So yeah, like I'm also kind of still figuring out how to get control of like social media pages that I had in the past,
Mm-hmm.
that I lost access to, and I've just got access to my Facebook page again, literally like yesterday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was so annoying not being able to like connect with, you know, fans on that page, because there's like 50,000 likes on that page.
Yeah.
And I just had no access to it for such a long time, and it was like, oh, can you imagine, like, if I could just let everyone know that, like, I've got the song and I've got this video. But yeah, as of yesterday, I've been able to utilize that platform again, which has been really cool.
That's
I
fantastic.
feel like I'm not answering your questions very well.
I think you're actually answering questions that I'm gonna eventually get to, so don't worry, we're just all gonna, like, I saw that your YouTube page has that same issue where you have the new page, but your old page
Yes.
has like close to 100,000 subscribers and followers. I can only imagine how much of this song is gonna help those people who have been following you and been waiting for you to actually like go, oh, she's back. We got new music. It's a new style. It's a new flair. It's totally her.
I know, as if 2020 couldn't be any more bizarre. Like, Bella Ferraro's back. Like, what the heck? It's funny you should mention YouTube though, because I actually a few hours ago have tried to merge the Vivo channel with like my existing YouTube channel. And as you know from trying to connect with me now, I'm not the smartest or most technologically clued in person, so I don't even know if I'm doing it right. But there must be something there, because so I use like an online distributor, and I allowed them to distribute my music on my behalf to YouTube, and they somehow managed to get onto my official Vivo. So now I'm trying to see if I can somehow get full access to that through my distributor, because my distributor's been able to, but I can't, which is bizarre.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's going to be, probably it's not going to be a quick process, that's for sure, because I tried for years to get access of the Facebook page, but my legal name is not Bella Ferraro, so it's hard to even prove that I am who I say I am, because my identification doesn't match.
Yeah.
So it's taken I think my publicist officially made a request to gain access to that Facebook page like maybe a month ago, and then I just got access yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not a quick process, and actually my situation with that Facebook page was relatively unique. Like, I'd already spent so much time browsing like the Facebook help center and facts and whatever, but there's like the situation that I had was so unique that there was actually no information available. We had to actually contact Facebook.
Yeah, because I can only imagine, because you basically jumped off social media once your contract ended back in, I think, 2013, 2014. And that it just been sitting there, and Facebook has evolved, it has changed, everyone's like their whole process has changed. So I can only imagine how much of a headache, especially if you didn't keep up with it.
Yeah, it was incredibly frustrating. And because there's also like a number of like fake accounts as well that have kind of cropped up in the meantime that are more active than that page, and I'm like, that is so annoying. And like, I obviously have to keep, like, for example, my Instagram public, and so it's very easy for them to like take photos from my Instagram and put it on the fake account. And before I had access to my Facebook page, it like looked as if that was, do you know what I mean, the fake was the new official. So it's totally been a ball ache, and it also didn't make it any easier to like prove that I am, do you know what I mean, my page was the official one. So YouTube is definitely, and it's funny that you should notice that, because I was just working on that today, but that's definitely the next step for me. I probably will end up having to contact YouTube as well.
Well, hopefully it goes easier than the Facebook. People are weird. I can only imagine that someone would just be crazy enough to try to copy your life.
Well, it's kind of mean.
Yeah.
I'm like,
totally.
Because then they also block me a lot of the time. They actually block me, so I can't report their page or anything. And I'm like, oh, I know. It gets very... And do you know what the worst part is?
What?
When they write stupid captions that I would never write. That's actually, I think, what gets me the most.
Who does that?
I don't know. I'm like, your captions are so lame. Like, please don't try and fool people into thinking I would, like, write lame captions. Like, isn't that... Like, that's literally my biggest gripe. Lol.
I would feel the same way. I would scorch the earth and try to just... purge it all. That would be me.
Justin, can I just say, you're very well researched, and I'm really appreciating your questions.
Oh, I appreciate it. I try to pay you guys as much respect as possible, and I've gotten that compliment from a lot of people so far.
No, you're very good at this.
So, I am curious about the music video. How much input did you have on the visuals? Because I know that you had 3 different ideas for the music video, but COVID happened and you had to scrap like the whole storytelling aspect of it.
Well, it was pretty much like, so I want to say it was like, so it was 100% my concept.
Okay.
100% my concept. However, I think as any artist, it's also important to know your limitations, and Like, I don't have a background in videography or special effects. So although the concept was 100% my own, I had a really good chat with the director and I said, look, you are the expert when it comes to like what I'm talking about and realizing my vision. So like, I also want you to feel that you have like leeway to get creative with, as long as it kind of fits within my concept. Like, we can definitely trial things, and like, do you know what I mean? Happy to experiment, and I want it to be just as much fun for you guys as it is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out to be a really amazing shoot, and we got some really beautiful. We just tried some, like, some stuff didn't work, and that's part of the process as well. But most of it did, and it was just such an interesting and really fun experience.
Was it mostly on a green screen, or were like the nature effects kind of on set, like with the rain at the end of the video?
Yeah, so so we used, and this is what I said in my initial consultation with the video company. So I came to them with the idea of using projection. I came to them with the idea because basically my concept was I want to create a storm because there's a lot of references. Like, it's a conceptual music video and it's like a thematic video. So like, the theme is obviously like the weather, but it's sort of conceptualizing like
the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you know, the weather's tumultuous and unpredictable, and so was the relationship. And like, the contrast of, because like, as you know, because as I've said, you seem very well researched, so you've probably seen that I've often spoke about the song being about contrasting perspectives,
right?
And I wanted to explore that thematically using the weather, as in like night and day being contrasting, and then like wind and rain, and like and do you know what I mean? And like the colors, like using opposites and the contrast to, like, I don't even know if I'm using the right terminology, but that was the concept really. And yeah, that was, so yeah, 100% my concept, but with creative, certainly there was like, I allowed for a lot of creative input from the director and the team.
Did you come up with the dance moves yourself, or were those kind of choreographed?
No. I'm not a dancer by any stretch. That was just like, that's just me moving. And like, I'm actually like so not comfortable with the idea of like, not so much dancing or like having my face in there, but like, for me, I wanted the focus to be more on the effects than like on my face. And I made that quite clear from the start. Like, anytime that my face is on screen, like, I'm not interested unless there's something cool happening visually. So like, we'll have the prism reflecting a rainbow on my face, that's fine. Or like, we'll have really cool use of color or shadow. Otherwise, I don't want to see my face. And it was the same with the dancing. It wasn't, I think my art is like, and me as a person, like, to some extent, like, I'm not choreographed, like, I'm quite impulsive. And so like, the dancing was the same. I just sort of moved how I felt. But yeah, it was all me. Like, I stylized the music video as well, in terms of like what I was wearing, how my hair and makeup was done. That was all my idea as well. And then like, the rain machine was as well my idea.
Was it really cold?
It wasn't that bad.
Oh.
It wasn't that bad.
Oh, good.
Like, the first take was the worst. And then once I was already like wet, it was fine.
So how many days did it take to shoot the video?
It was one 12-hour day.
Oh, wow.
From like starting hair and makeup to wrapping, it took 12 hours.
Was it difficult having like a small crew compared like a big, because I know the COVID is having a big effect on the UK.
That's right.
Did it feel very personal that was just like a small group of people, or were you just so focused on the vision, getting it right?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I've been living in the UK since before the pandemic hit the UK, and it hit the UK quite early on, and it hit the UK quite hard. So I, for the last like 6-7 months, had already been sort of adapting to these changes. And so like, I don't see these things, like, I try just to look at them as opportunities, and seeing how we can, like, do you know what I mean? It kind of goes without saying, like, it would be easier if we weren't in a pandemic, of course, but I can't let that stop me from creating art, or then I'll just be depressed.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, I mean, I guess the crew was, I didn't even really think about that before you asked me, to be honest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but are you planning a video for every song off the EP?
That's a good question. So the reason I went ahead with a video clip for her is because I had such a strong idea for it. If I didn't have an idea, I probably wouldn't have made one. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, I didn't want to just make a music video for the sake of making a music video. I wanted to actually make art and like have a vision come to life, which is where the joy of performing really comes for me. And that's what I mean. Like, it's not so much seeing a song of mine top the charts. It's actually being able to put something that I visualized in my head into something that other people can like experience. Like that for me is like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I could not stop thinking about this idea for her, and every time I listened to the song, I saw this video, and that was for me was the deciding factor in making it. So it's a 4-track EP, and I'll be releasing 2 singles before I drop the EP. Obviously hers already come out, so there's 1 more single. I do not have a clear video concept for it, so I'm leaning towards not doing a music video for the second single. However, one of the tracks on the EP that will not be a single, I do have a strong visual for, and so I think I'll probably make a video for that.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's how I...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, because your fans have been clamoring for Believe You for so long, because it was like the first song that you teased of this upcoming project.
Yes.
But so I'm sure they're already just excited just to get the track.
Yeah, and I think if we're talking about music as a business, I think Believe You will be more commercially successful than Her, which is why I had it as my first single that was going to be my lead single initially. I've always felt strongly that if either of those lead singles do well commercially or better than the other, it would be Believe You. I think it's just the stronger. I mean, I love Her obviously, but in terms of like, as I said, business and commercially viable music, I think Believe You is stronger than Her. So I kind of think like, I mean, I've done a music video for Her and I'm happy with it, and I'm happy for that to still be like the visual, do you know what I mean?
Representation of this new project, of this new beginning.
My God, I want you to do my interviews.
I appreciate that.
You could ask the questions and answer them. I feel like you're so much more eloquent than me right now. But that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm happy for Her as the music video to be the visual reference for the project.
I just love the fact that you love the song so much that you just couldn't wait to put it out. You're just like, I have all this other stuff, I have a game plan, but this is for me. And you drop the single.
Do you mean?
And then you drop the video.
Releasing Her?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is what I mean with like the, kind of living through a global pandemic. Like ultimately it's made a lot of things more difficult, and I'm like, but I can't let that stop me from like releasing. Do you know what I mean? You just have to adapt. And in the same way, it became very difficult for Believe You to be the lead single because I still had to work on it. And then Her was just sitting there finished. And I was like, do you know what? Can I swear?
Oh, go for it.
Like, fuck plans. Like, fuck sticking to a plan right now. Like, everyone's plans have gone out the window. So, like, why am I wasting precious time sticking to a plan that doesn't really matter? Like, as long as the music is out, I think it doesn't matter which one is the lead single. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, most definitely. Because right now a lot of people just are interested in the art form compared to what could be successful, what could not be. It's just like they want to hear from the artist. They want to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you release it one day or you drop all the tracks like overnight, like Beyonce or Drake. It just automatically shows up. People are just are ready to ingest it because we have the time and we're interested.
And it's art. Yeah.
And this particular project means a lot to you. And I was gonna ask you if making these 4 tracks was any bit therapeutic for you, because I know you have like a notebook of songs. And I was just curious, like, these 4 tracks, what do they mean to you?
That's a good question. It does mean a lot to me to be releasing them, and potentially not for the reasons that everybody might think, but like, so I have ADHD. I got diagnosed only a year ago, which kind of puts a lot of experiences I've had in my life. It makes sense now. It makes sense why I found school really difficult despite getting really good marks. And it makes sense why I dropped out. And it makes sense why I've never really been able to finish projects. Because I get bored and I stop, or I'll, you know what I mean? Like, my focus is so difficult to concentrate. My focus is all over the place all the time that I very rarely finished projects. And it's so exciting to me that I have invested time and money and like everything, really. Like, not even just those things, but like, actually, I got on medication for ADHD just over a year ago, probably about 18 months ago. I started taking medication, and like, that was honestly a turning point for my ability to see projects through. And I started to like, production became a lot easier, songwriting became a lot easier, and I was actually finishing things. And I finished Her, and then I finished Believe You, and then I finished these tracks, and I was like, I'm ready now because I now have the tools I need to actually finish projects. And I know that might sound so silly because I'm sure for other people, that don't have attention problems or like whatever it might be,
Mm-hmm.
it's like really finishing something was like your biggest issue, but it was.
Yeah, it can be very overwhelming, and it causes a lot of anxiety because you just feel like, oh, I couldn't complete it.
It's just amazing. It's amazing to me. Like I started producing like maybe 4 or 5 years ago I started, and I was so it was like a whole nother world for me because I've played a few different traditional instruments growing up. So like I've played violin for 10 years, I played piano for like 5 years, I still play piano.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was in a choir for a long time, so like voice and like violin and piano, like they're obviously, it's different to producing and like using synthesizers and like essentially computerized instruments that wouldn't exist if it weren't for like, you know, quite kind of recent technology really.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a whole nother world for me, and like I used to get so frustrated and impatient because I didn't really allow myself time to learn. Like I just would get frustrated that it wasn't easy, and I'd not really give up, but it's more that my focus I'd get distracted by something that was easy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and because it can be disheartening sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I still don't know technical terms for I can't tell you what oscillating is or what a frequency is. Like I actually don't know. I probably do understand more about music theory than I realize. I just don't have like the words. Do you know what I mean? Like the vocabulary to really describe it. But for me, like it's just so cool that like I went from not finishing songs or like finding it just too hard, and like now I spend hours every day like producing just for the sake of producing.
That's an incredible change.
And I enjoy it. And I enjoy it because it's a project, and it's like an assignment. It's like I enjoy giving myself these assignments, and I feel so validated when the better I get at producing what I hear in my head to something that you could hear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of that, you know?
Yeah, and you should be.
Thank you.
Because it takes a lot. It takes a lot of work
and discipline too.
Oh yeah.
And I still struggle with discipline sometimes, but I'm just so much more focused, I feel, and it's like I didn't know I was missing focus and before I was diagnosed, but it's made such a difference.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of next year you'll have another EP or the full debut record.
I'm already planning thinking, what am I going to do after this EP? Am I going to drop a few singles? Will I release an album? Like, will I release 2 albums? Surprise everybody out here. Like, for sure.
Is the change in scenery, has that helped? Because, again, you're brand new to the UK, you're from Australia. Do you find Manchester and the area and the UK very inspiring for your art?
I so wish that I could say yes. But, like, I don't know. I haven't been to, like, any gigs, really, since I got here because of, like, lockdown.
It's like going to a closed shop. You're like, hey, I'm here, and then everything's closed.
Yeah, basically. But I'm inspired by lots of things. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the change of scenery, but perhaps the change of scenery has like inspired different moods, and perhaps the moods are then influencing what I'm writing.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
But are you happy that these 4 tracks and this story, are you happy that it's finally like sort of completed or like on the way towards its completion?
Definitely.
Because again, these are very personal stories and events, like hers about intimacy and the uncertainty of this during a relationship, and then Believe You is about an old friend.
Yeah.
It's like, how important is music to your personal life? Is that just the way you think? Is that just the way you songwrite? Does it come from a personal place?
Okay, you know what's funny is like I was actually reading something today. So like I don't meditate, right? But it kind of occurred to me today after like reading some like blogs and like just other musicians' experiences with the songwriting process that I actually think I am meditating when I songwrite. For me, I think that's actually quite a meditative process for me because I'm not really thinking, I'm feeling. I'm not thinking too much. I'm kind of more engaging with like, what am I feeling? How does this feel when I listen to it back? Do I like that snare here? Like, do I like the rhythm of that bass? Like, I'm not thinking about it. I'm like feeling. And I actually think I'm meditating.
Through the music.
Yeah, in a way. Rather than overthinking it.
Because you tend to focus on the music and then the lyrics come after, right?
100%.
So it's about that feeling, that initial vibe.
100%. Like, and I don't really know, like, I tend to think that like the norm with songwriters, and I consider myself, I mean, I'm a singer-songwriter for sure. I know a lot of songwriters write lyrics first, and that's never been the way that I songwrite. And again, like, I don't like to take a long time writing lyrics. I would rather spend a longer time getting the music right, and I prefer when lyrics are written quite quickly, because I think the longer they take, the more you're thinking about them, and then the more you're thinking, the more you're tweaking, and then the more you tweak, the less it's what you actually want to say. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do.
So for me, like at least the lyric writing, the music, like the rhythm and the beat and like the chord progression, that's very deliberate. But for the lyrics is more like, it just felt right, and I'm gonna sing about this. I don't like, for example, so Her is about a relationship I had that didn't work out, but I actually wrote it when I was still dating that person. So it's not really a breakup song. But I wrote it about a specific disagreement that we were having. And I didn't think to myself, I'm going to like journal this feeling or this experience in a song. It just came to me. And it's very impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yes, the songs are personal, but they're kind of accidentally that way.
Yeah, it sounds emotional. Like it came from that specific emotion of not being able to connect at that moment.
1,000,000%. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I'm a highly emotional being, so that's not surprising.
Are you planning to do like an acoustic version? And I'm asking this for the YouTube fans because I saw a bunch of people clamoring for it. Are you expecting to do any acoustic versions of these 4 tracks on the EP at any point?
Do you know what? I wrote, like, I sing Her as a piano version. So like I sat at my piano, this is after I'd finished writing Her, and like I played and I figured out the chords, and it sounds quite beautiful. It's like a ballad on piano and just piano and voice. And so yeah, why not? As I said, like, what are the fucking rules right now? There are no rules. And really, there's never rules. Rules are made up by people, and they're not real. They don't exist. There are no parameters, really. So why not?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll surprise you all and like drop an EP too that's just like the first EP, but like stripped back versions. That could be cool.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of the most common thing I saw in the YouTube comments for the music video. I was like, yeah, I think it would be really dope to hear it as in your old school piano, maybe like a good acoustic guitar.
Yeah, Her does sound beautiful as just like a piano and vocal arrangement. A bit more heartbreaking, but certainly very pretty. And I definitely would consider like seriously recording and or releasing like an acoustic version. But it's funny that you should touch on, like, you've read a lot of YouTube comments that suggest that, because that's one thing that's kind of worried me about reclaiming my artist name
Mm-hmm.
and merging all my old social medias, because like I will always like, it'll only ever be nice that people appreciated what I was doing back then, right?
Yes.
But I was actually never really that artist. Like, I don't like, neither of the singles I released through Sony were really who I am.
No.
As nice as it is to be reminded of like the admiration people have for what I did back then, I hope I don't disappoint people, because it's not really who I am now, you know?
That machine, and again, coming from someone who works out here in Hollywood and had friends on those various TV shows, sometimes it's not everything that you see on the screen. It's there's a lot of things going on in the background. People's expectations should not be based off you then. It should be based off you now.
Yeah.
And you have so much to say, and you have so much to let people know and share your voice, because that's what they want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we are nearing the end of the interview. This is the time that I like to give the mic over to you guys for your final plugs. The mic is yours, Bella. Thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure talking to you, especially about Star Wars.
Oh my gosh. Justin, thank you so much for having me. This one's for Thomas. Hi guys, it's Bella Ferraro. He loves it when I say that. But in all seriousness, I want to say welcome if you are new to the Bella Ferraro thing, and welcome back if you followed me right from 2012, I guess, where it all kind of began, at least publicly. It's been a wild ride these last 7 years. It's been a lot of fun, many trials and tribulations, very interesting experiences, like most of which I'm not sure I would voluntarily put myself through again. But it has shaped me into the person and the artist I am today. And it's just so cool to have you guys on board, as I said, whether you knew me in 2012 or whether you're kind of jumping on the bandwagon, as it were, now. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And you know what? I hope it always is fun. I think my experiences with like major labels and like the reality competition shows kind of tainted, and it's no one's fault, but it did taint what music meant to me. And it took a long time to kind of remember why I love music so much, and I'm confident that I've found that now, and I hope that that's what you get from listening to my music. And I'm sorry I'm rambling. Also, Star Wars is fantastic. Don't bother with anything after the original trilogy, or if you can, if you want to, you could probably skip the sequels though. And shout out to Justin.
This episode of That Buzzin' Sound was recorded and edited using a variety of free applications like Audacity and Discord, and is available on such streaming platforms as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, while being fully hosted on Anchor FM.